I hope we're all good. Hope we all had a decent weekend. Let me just get this out of my system. Ooh. Right, it is Monday morning. There's a few things to run through. A couple of pairs that I just want to go through this morning that present us with a few opportunities. I'm going to work down in the order of my list next to me. Dollar CAD. Let's not be confused. Like, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that dollar CAD has been in a pretty solid downward trajectory. Doesn't look like that is ready to give up the ghost anytime soon. When it comes to potential entries, though, we do have a couple of options available to us. It makes zero sense to be looking anywhere other than potential short entries at the moment, just given the fact that the momentum that we've seen behind it going against that. Whilst it could be extremely profitable long term, trying to catch the end of a move like that and catch that reversal opportunity, there is no point trying to get involved in something like that. We have no want, need, or desire to. All we want to do at the moment is ride that momentum. So, looking at possible entries for dollar CAD to the downside. Naturally, we had this breakout towards the end of last week. So a drive back up into that region somewhere around about 2250 makes a lot of sense. Pushing to 2250 would likely lead to a sell-off. We could come as high as 2260 though. 2360 or 2350, somewhere around that region. Either of those opportunities would be fine for potential retracement entries. What we're looking for there are those drives to the upside, then seeing potential engulfing patterns or shooting star formations away from those levels to try and help with potential confluences when we're looking for entry opportunities and that exact moment to enter. With the pair, if we do push above 2350, that will be massive, to be fair, and it's probably going to likely lead us back to returns towards 126, 127. It's difficult to see any scenario where 123.50 is taken out, though, that isn't fundamentally driven. Unless we get some major and significant fundamentals that come out to play, that push the dollar into a more positive mind state or into a more positive place, then we're unlikely to see that. After last week's non-farm payroll, it's going to take a solid month to recover from that, I would have thought. The chances are that they then revise their estimates next month and overshoot that, and we see the dollar strengthen back up again. So we're likely to see a weakened dollar for a little while to come yet, unless obviously we get some form of fundamental change, which I think is doubtful. So looking for any of those two potential opportunities makes perfect sense. Naturally, there is the option to try and ride that push to the upside, if you so wanted to. Anything above 2140 or 2150, let's say, you could ride that up to 2250 and look for the rejection away from there. Looking for potential continuation entries, it doesn't make any sense to try and take anything really until 2050 goes. Looking at the pair now, we obviously Sunday night we had the opportunity. We didn't have quite so much noise to obviously contend with. All of this hadn't happened yet and we hadn't seen further drops. As things stand at the moment, I would only be looking for potential long above 2150 up to 2250, shorts away from 2250 or 2350, and I would be looking for breaks below 12050, potentially 2080, depending on how your risk is. But I wouldn't overly advise that. just want to come in and see if certainly in the short term there's been anywhere that we could potentially look for entry. 21.25, which we're below that already. 20.80. So yeah, like I say, there you can potentially enter below 20.80, but for high probability entries, you'd want to wait for 20.50 to be taken out. Once 20.50 goes, then it's a different ball game. But until that happens, I don't particularly see that there's a potential position available to us there. So below 120.50, potential entry for sure. Below, above 121.40, potential long to the upside. You can definitely look to short away from 122.50 if that was to come into play. So there are potential opportunities and potential entries for us on the pair. Just going to need to exercise a little bit of caution and a little bit of patience as we come into the beginning of this week. Where do I want to go next? I want to go to CAD Yen. Okay, so we've seen the breakout this morning. That's not the ideal scenario to come back into. I've missed that. There's a couple of options unavailable to us here when we're looking at potential trades. Pull back into 88.80. If we see a pullback into 88.80, we can take the long back up to 90.50. If we break back below, then we can take the short back down. Probably actually going to come more likely into 89.20, and then obviously we see where we go from there. As things stand though, we've missed a potential initial entry to the upside. So we can definitely short below. Just need to be mindful of 89.20. If 89.20 goes, then you're down to 88.50. A pullback into 89.80 would be nice this morning to see, and then see the rejection or potential rejection away from there. Otherwise, you are going to need to wait it out until 90.50 goes. And then once 90.50 goes, 91.50 being the next potential target. So we need to wait for those levels now. We have seemingly missed the potential push this morning. So the next logical area for us is going to be when we break back above 90.50. So not ideal. You could definitely look for buy limits away from 80 if you so wanted to. I'm not sure that they present the best opportunity. I would be more likely to set a pending order and look to just not a pending order, sorry, an alert, and look to just take an entry once that comes into play. I think below 89.80 you've definitely got the short down to the probably maybe 30, even 20. So it doesn't present the best risk to reward, but does definitely present a risk to reward for us that would make sense taken. Anything above 90.50, you would definitely turn attentions to potential longs. Like I say, we're just alert 88.80 as an area to be mindful of. Pound CAD. Must admit, favouring the short play on pound CAD following last week. We had a little bit of indecision, but we're trading around quite a significant area when we closed on Friday. We'd broken through Thursday, come back, retested, and looking for that push away. We've obviously seen a gap and a push to the upside as a result overnight. Obviously gap down, push back to the upside. Let's have a look. So a retest and a sell limit away from 70.50 makes a fair bit of sense. However, if we break back above 70.50, then we're probably likely to head towards 71, 71.20. So we need to be very mindful of this area. We can't really. There doesn't seem to be a particular position to take until we're clear of this region, until we're clear of this area. So we will just need to be mindful of 70.50. Probably going to set an alert at that area. Just to keep watch. I don't know what we've got set up there. So just to keep watch of that region, and then look for pushes to the downside from there. I do definitely prefer the downside potential to this pair as things stand at the moment. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This area at 50 would be the perfect place to see that lower high form. So it makes perfect sense for us to look for positions away from that. Looking into continuations to the downside, can't really take a position until 69.50 is taken out. So below 69.50, definitely have the opportunity to trade. That would definitely present us with a potential option. Like I say, potentially looking for pushes away. I wouldn't set a sell limit. I'm not particularly a fan of trying to second guess that area. So I would just set an alert and try and take a position from 70.50. Moving through. Oh, I do have it. It's already here. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. Obviously, we're potentially looking for a break of this consolidation region that we've been trapped in. We saw closes back below the resistance level at 78.50. We could definitely look now for a pullback into 78.20. I think that makes a lot of sense for the pair. It would be good to see the dollar potentially strengthen up a little bit as we move into this week as well. But we'll just be cautious more than anything. We'll just be a little bit mindful and see how things play out. I'm not going to rush too far ahead of anything. Closes below, definitely. Closes below the 30 levels, you would come down to 20. That's just not worthwhile. Any breaks below 78.20, potentially short back to 77.50, 77.70, somewhere in that region. Anything above that, then we're still going to look for potential longs. We could see a pullback into 78.20 and a pushback to the upside. That's fine. More than happy to take potential trades away from here. Back to the upside. Breaks below down to 77.70. Breaks above 78.50. Definitely hold potential for us, and we would be 100% looking for pushes up to 80. So above 78.50, I would probably wait for 78.80 to be taken out just to be sure at this point in time. But above that region, we definitely have the potential for a position. Certainly as well, if we can make this higher high, higher low, and break the highs, we could definitely see a push up to 80. So we'll just wait it out, see what happens this morning. We can't jump into anything. Shorts though below 78.20 make a lot of sense. Aussie yen, again, gapped overnight, push to the upside. I would expect this to close. I would expect now a push down to 85. Somewhere in that region. Definitely a break back below 85.50 or 85.40 even. And these highs, let's just pull that up, be a little bit more accurate with it, shall we? Definitely below 85.40, push somewhere into 85. We could then see a potential push away from 85 if we were to box said region off, push down into 85, and then see a push back to the upside towards 85.40. That definitely holds weight. Pushes below, I would wait for the 80 level to be taken out before shorting. This short from 85.40 down to 85, not really worthwhile, I don't believe. We are much better served waiting it out. Breaks back above 85.80, I would have said. Yeah, that should be pretty good. Breaks above 85.80, we'll start to be looking for the potential pushes up to 86.50 and 88 in extension to that. If we come to the 4 hours, reset that chart, just zoom out a bit, see if it can give us. It's not going to give us much, is it? Let's be fair. Okay, let's shrink this through. Oh, I hate doing this. Nah. Not worth it. 86.50 and 88 are the next targets for the upside. As and when that comes, we're not looking to short until 84.80 is taken out. Although for the people that are risk happy, you can short below 85.50 down to 85 if you wanted to. That's pretty odds on. That should be pretty simple and easy to find in all honesty. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand, again, another pair saw massive selling pressure into last week. So looking for those retracements is definitely worthwhile. We found support, push to the upside. Obviously, again, we've seen a little gap over the weekend and as market opened last night into this situation. As things stand, we could come as high as, let's try and be a little bit more accurate with it, shall we? This is quite a big little range, 20 odd pips. We could come as high as 38.80 basically. 93.80. We could come as high as 93.80 and we could look for a sell-off away from 93.80. That would make a lot of sense into these previous range if we don't reject back below 93 already. If we can get below 93, in fact, I would say as low as 92.80 just to be safe. If we can get back below 92.80, then we would definitely have a potential short play down to 91.80. So there's potentials surrounding Pound New Zealand. There is obviously the potential to short away from 93.80, looking for that potential break below the 20 level. And obviously 20 down to 80, 80 down to 91.80. So there are possibilities. I actually hold very, very little interest in longing the pound at the moment. I wouldn't want to see it really actually until 94 is taken out. 94, maybe 94.20, I might consider longing it up to the 80 level, but that's doubtful in all honesty. I'd probably wait for 95 to go just to give me full confirmation and full confidence that we are seeing a solid bullish run. As things stand at the moment, what I am actually more interested in is this potential for the head and shoulders pattern. Right shoulder to form anywhere around this 80 level, or as high as 80 should I say, or to push away from anywhere where it is now. Looking for that break below and that push back down to 91.80, and then the confirmation of said head and shoulders formation being broken at 91.80. Pound New Zealand is the pair that I will focus probably most on as this week progresses. There's going to be a lot of potential for entries should we get them. If we reject away, then obviously we have the opportunity to enter again at 93 or 92.80, depending on how risk happy you are. You've also then got the opportunity to enter again at 92.50. You have the opportunity to enter again when these lows previously are taken out at 92. Opportunity to enter again at 91.70, let's say. Let's just let the lows be taken out. So we're going to have so many opportunities to enter into this pair if it carries and if that weight pulls through. New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen presents us with a decent opportunity to the upside, but much like Aussie yen at the moment, we've definitely got scope for that pullback. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that we have definitely potential to pull back into this zone, and we also have potential to pull back into this area too. So rejections away from either of these areas would give us potential longs back up to 79.20. I would definitely expect to see some form of a retracement, but we have made a higher high. Any of these regions would be fine to make a potential higher low before seeing a push back to the upside continue. It's very, very clear to see that we've entered this bullish run. We can see from the weekly time frames where we have had nothing but momentum come into the pair. So breaking these highs at 79.20 is a massive deal. We're above, so either a pullback into these regions could be expected, or we can long it away from 79.20. Yes, we've seen this consolidation this morning and overnight. I'm just not comfortable with it as things stand at the moment. I would definitely prefer to see some form of a larger pullback to the downside before seeing that push continue. Just don't like it. I'd like to break back below 79.20 before we go to the upside, just because really and truly also that there isn't much of it in the way of continuation entries past this level. So if we've missed that entry, that's going to potentially keep us out of this game now. And there's a big target up to 81.50 for the pair, so we do need to be mindful of it. We could have a potential entry at 79.60, but we don't want to have missed that move. So I would prefer to see some form of a pushback down and to be able to take momentum drive back up through 79.20. So again, I'm going to alert 79.20 and see where we fare from there. Shorts, not interested until 78.20 is taken out. Nothing about that makes any sense. Trying to short it while we're in a realm where we would definitely still expect to see a higher low. New Zealand Swiss. Oh, pound CAD. Has alerted, which means that we are now up at this 70.50 region. So let's see if we can see a break below. Let's continue looking though at New Zealand Swiss. New Zealand Swiss, a little bit contradictory to be fair, but there are potential positions either side of this pair as we stand at the moment. Obviously, we're just trapped in consolidation. Breaks above 66.20 would lead us up to 67. Breaks below 65 would definitely lead us back to the downside, and 74.20. So we're just trapped in this consolidation region still. We're just looking for trades either side of that. Nothing too strenuous, but there's definitely potentials surrounding those pairs. I also just want to take one quick look over Euro Oz. Just because I know that we're trading around this level, we're obviously looking for potential pushes away on the euro and strength into the Australian dollar also, so makes sense for us to take a look. Broken back below quite a significant level. What's this? 54.50 down to 54, 54 down to 50, 53, then possibly into 52.50. Breaks back above 55, we could long it. I don't know how I feel about this, considering the fact that the Australian pairs aren't all that. We've seen those breaks, but they're definitely all setting up for those potential retracements and pullbacks. I think Euro Oz below 54.50 would definitely present an opportunity, if I'm honest. That would probably be worth setting an alert for and just seeing how that plays out. I think there's potential there. I do. We keep an eye on it. Let's just alert the 50 level. See how price fares around there. Don't really care too much for the longs at this point in time, but definitely potential surrounding those. Dollar CAD we've looked at. Euro dollar, obviously a little bit of strength into the European Open for the dollar. As the London session opens, we might see that continue. Not overly sold on it. Does mean that we've retested previous breakout, previous low highs, even rejection away. I can't see anywhere any reason as to why euro dollar doesn't hit 122.50. It's definitely going to happen at some point this week. I would prefer to see a push down to 21 and then a rejection away from 21. That to me makes far more sense after the momentum drives. I think at the moment. So I don't know. There's no point taking a long above 21.80 though, because you're probably going to hit a sticking point at 22.20. So it just makes very little sense to try and take that position. That's a slow burner. I would just sit and wait for that one. Euro Swiss I'm intrigued by because obviously we are involved in this pair from last week. We cannot get below the lows though. Starting to consider the fact that we're probably going to need to come out of this position. Take the profit off the table. 109.50. I'm gonna say that if we break above 55, I'm just gonna pull the plug on this trade, take the profit off the table. Obviously we got in from 110 anyway, so we're still in decent amount of profit. It's just not traveling in any real direction anymore. It's just going sideways, and what's the point in being involved in a position that's doing that? Euro CAD does interest me. Let me just come up to the 4-hour time frame. Definitely a reason we've blocked this zone off. Just want to what have we got through here? 46.80. I think I would want that to go. I think below 46.80, there's possibly the potential for a trade here. When it comes to potential downside, obviously we're looking for the downside in Euro Oz, but not so much so Euro Dollar. But we're not expecting the dollar to be any good whatsoever. I'm happy to forego Euro Dollar long for potential Euro CAD and Euro Oz shorts. I think once you take the lows out at 46.80, the only place it can go is 46.40. Now that puts you 40 pips up before any real sticking point. Below that level, I'm not convinced there's anything marked down. There is 45, but if memory serves, is 46.20 not a level that we need to be mindful of? Why do I have that level in my head? Let me come to the daily. Slight area of resistance. What's this? 47.20. No, that's not it. 45. That's not it. I don't know why that level's in my head. 46.20, but it is in my head. I have a feeling that I'm confusing it though. I don't know. EuroCAD, I definitely see potential from 46.80 down to 45. Be mindful around 46 and 46.20. I don't know why they're in my head, but they are. Definitely room to short below 46.80 though, for sure. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I'm going to keep an eye pound CAD, pound New Zealand this morning, so we'll see where we get there. I hope everyone has a decent day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch up with everyone a little bit later. Have a decent day. But yeah, see you in a bit.